Indeed, Sarah, a non-wrestler, scored a pinfall victory over a man who'd held the big gold belt on 3 occasions.
To make it even worse, on top of that, damn, the Undertaker not even with her no more, bro.
Oh, what's up? Oh, what's up?
Yo, what up? It's Amache back here, another video. Today we're about to be reacting to a video by WrestleMania. The video is going to be on top 10 worst WWE reveals. And nigga, there's been so many like worst WWE reveals in the damn fucking vicinity, bro. Some people would say Danhausen, but he actually like pretty funny. But he actually pretty entertaining. He was actually pretty entertaining in AEW too, and I don't know why a lot of people were like surprised by that shit. But let's get into it.
Then Danhausen in the crate.
Oh.
Ironically, Danhausen was cursed from the second WWE began teasing the opening of a mysterious crate elimination chamber. Nothing worth caring about in pro wrestling has ever come out of a crate or a box, and this was the substantial.
To make it worse, both of the fucking general managers came out to crack open the box. So I kind of get how like it was really disappointing in a sense, because that shit was so dramatic.
Evidence to confirm it. Whilst Danhausen got the initial pop, it then quickly turned into boos. Now most of the issue fell on the audience, whose expectations had been blown way out of proportion. When the crate was first shipped to Raw, many were hoping that it indicated that Chris Jericho was finally on his way back to WWE, despite reports of AEW having frozen his contract. While the presentation of other mysterious angles at the same time, such as the Vision's masked antagonist, took away the allure of whatever was inside the crate. The WWE ultimately set Danhausen up to fail on his first night. Let's face it, he was never a name big enough to debut on a PLE, let alone as a conclusion of a weeks-long mystery. There were even rumors that his reveal compared to the egg cracking at Survivor Series 1990, where Hector Guerrero was hatched as the Gobbledy Gooker. But whilst the debut was hit and miss, Danhausen certainly bounced back from it, as his comedic first appearance on Raw changed a lot of the fans' minds. Number 9, Curtis.
See, exactly. That's how quick like that nigga can change your mind. Like I wasn't really angry at it because I'm not like one of those WWE fans that are just like always like disappointed in everything they do, bro. At least I try to see the other side of it, and I support still.
Axel as a Paul Heyman guy. Although he's
Oh
revered as
no,
one of wrestling's greatest mouthpieces, Paul Heyman's phone book of clients leaves a lot to be
yo.
desired. He got
I remember this moment with Ryback, bro. This nigga kissed this nigga on the cheek, bro. Who wrote that script, and why did Paul Heyman go along with that, bro? I don't get why that needed to happen, bro.
Brock Lesnar during his rookie year, elevated Roman Reigns to deliver the best work of his career, and was sensational at the helm of WCW's Dangerous Alliance. But he also managed some true stinkers, with Curtis Axel being the worst of the bad crop. Introduced by Heyman on Raw's May 20th, 2013 episode, the repackaged Michael McGillicuddy re-debuted to audible groans from the live crowd. Nobody had been intrigued by him when he was in the new Nexus, and nobody was intrigued by him now. While WWE did try their best to get behind him with a lengthy Intercontinental Championship reign and wins over Triple H and John Cena, it wasn't enough. By the summer, despite still being the Intercontinental Champion, he was relegated to being CM Punk's whipping boy. The decision to hand Curtis Axel such a prolific role becomes doubly worse once you understand that it was only done to keep Paul Heyman on WWE programming during Brock Lesnar's latest sabbatical. The same unfortunate fate happened to Cesaro a few months later, and he, like Axel, never recovered. Number 8.
That's fucking terrible, bro. They bring out all the big guns. They give this nigga Vince McMahon to shake your hand. You know that's the beginning of the end. For you just know it just never ended well. It didn't end well for Austin Theory in like recent history because the shit that came out with Vince and he had to quit. So like it just never comes out good, when that nigga comes out to shake your hand. Just like Drew McIntyre too. Like, he came out, told that nigga was a future, and well, at that time, it did not look good. But like Drew, is like thriving right now.
Kevin Nash texts himself? Kevin Nash was never provided the sort of material that would have made his 2011 return to WWE a success, but the revelation that he'd been texting himself was a big slap in the face to the viewer. Returning at SummerSlam, Nash targeted the new WWE champion CM Punk, laying him out after his main event victory and allowing Alberto Del Rio to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. The supposed reason behind this calculated assault was that Triple H, the on-screen chief operating officer and Kevin Nash's longtime friend behind the scenes, had sent him a text instructing him to attack whoever had won the SummerSlam headliner between CM Punk and John Cena. Now that all sounds fine, but over time, it was made clear that it wasn't the game who had been texting Nash, but rather Kevin Nash texting himself.
I'm not gonna lie, this story kind of ruined the summer of Punk, bro. This was a shitty ass story, bro. The whole storyline, and it didn't even end up with CM Punk facing Kevin Nash because they wanted to turn it into another like Triple H versus Kevin Nash type of deal, and that ladder match was not good.
From Triple H's phone. The whole angle reeked of WWE ripping up its plans at the last minute. According to Kevin Nash, Triple H was supposed to have been behind the messages and turn heel for the first time since 2006, but instead, he replaced Nash in the Night of Champions match with CM Punk, which he won, and then defeated Big Daddy Cool at TLC later that year. In short, the entire thing was designed to put Triple H over again. Number 7, Hornswoggle becomes a McMahon. Almost immediately after he was forced to cancel his fake death storyline in light of the Benoit family tragedy, Mr. McMahon started another contrived angle. He was the father to an illegitimate son who just so happened to be a WWE superstar. Okay, calling him a superstar might be pushing it, given that it was Hornswoggle who was revealed as being a third-generation McMahon, much to the embarrassment of Mr. McMahon and the delight of Triple H. The live crowd absolutely loathed this reveal, and many online have branded it as one of WWE's worst angles in history, even more so when you learn that the storyline was eventually dropped and Hornswoggle was revealed as actually being the offspring of Finlay. Supposedly, the plan was for Mr. Kennedy to be revealed as an illegitimate McMahon, but he was legitimately suspended from WWE after being one of the 11 wrestlers named in a steroid scandal.
I mean, I kind of get it because it was no way out of this if they planned the storyline for so many months and then it ended up with Mr. Kennedy getting fired and released. Like, I feel like they were screwed anyway because, like, you had to release this nigga and it would have left a taint on your fucking business, and then, you would literally have to fucking like scrap your plans to reveal another person. But I mean, I feel like a WWE superstar could have been revealed though. Like, why Hornswoggle out of people? I, I don't got nothing against like Hornswoggle because he was entertaining back in the day, but like, why couldn't a real wrestler get that exposure?
And he would never receive his chance at superstardom. Number 6, Hornswoggle is the anonymous Raw general manager. As if
Oh,
Hornswoggle being revealed as Mr. McMahon's illegitimate son wasn't bad enough, he was once again made the butt of the joke in 2012 when he was unveiled as the anonymous Raw general manager, 1 year after the angle was abruptly dropped. Kevin Eck, a former creative writer for WWE, detailed during a 2016 blog post how Mr. McMahon continually shot down ideas of how to wrap the angle up, his reason being that most people had moved on from it. Ultimately, Hornswoggle was pitched as a joke, but McMahon gave it the thumbs up, and the King of Small Style was
bro.
unmasked as WWE's Master Keyboard Warrior ahead of Raw 1000 in July of 2000.
Well, that's literally the fucking old man Vince McMahon thinking. He kind of hit it with some of these things in the past. I'll give him all his credits, but like, it's always just the bullshit, bro. When you hear about the true reason of why he really wanted this to happen, because he thought it would be funny. This is just that old white guy humor.
2012. Number 5, Eric Rowan's Spider. Sometimes WWE will prolong
Oh
a mystery
shit.
angle for so long that by the time they're ready to do the big reveal, everybody has lost interest in what or who is at the heart of the storyline. But in the case of Eric Rowan's cage, nobody was interested from the start. Drafted to Raw in late 2019, Eric Rowan began carrying a cloth-covered cage to ringside with a supposedly rabid animal inside it. He snapped at anybody who went near the thing, and whatever this thing was, it once bit off Rowan's jobber opponents, drawing blood. This was built up for weeks and weeks until WWE reached the March 2nd, 2020 episode of Raw, where the big reveal happened, and it happened to be a
A
toy spider.
mechanical spider.
Making the reveal even worse was the fact that it took place during a backstage segment, and that it was no way Jose who persuaded Eric to do the big reveal. Once he saw the toy, he sprinted for the hills. The whole thing was a complete joke and a waste.
This shit was just so terrible, bro. I remember this shit being like the talk, but like I felt like once the cage was brought out and it was just that small, I feel like nobody would give a fuck about it. And it's not Roland's fault either. It's these dumbass like creative pitches that they had pitched, and this was the best they could fucking do, bro. Now I get why they switched out a lot of writers when Vince McMahon got the fuck up out of the company. They still kind of having their troubles right now with Triple H and some of his writers, but like shit couldn't have been this bad though. Holy fuck.
Wasted time for everyone involved, instantly killing whatever credibility Rowan had left. Number 4, Rikishi did it for The Rock. Vince McMahon booked himself into a corner at Survivor Series 1999. He knew way ahead of the time that Stone Cold Steve Austin wasn't going to be medically cleared to wrestle, and yet he continued to advertise the main event as being Austin versus Triple H versus The Rock, until on the night Austin was a victim of a hit and run, kick-starting a whodunit mystery that stretched until October 2000. But the issue was that the company failed to build up any viable suspects, eventually throwing Rikishi to the wolves as a man behind the wheel. Fans were more bewildered than they were stunned by this, as Rikishi had been the fun-loving partner of Too Cool, but he didn't have the charisma or the star power to thrive in such a heel position. His I Did It for The Rock promo also failed on every level. The Rock was already one of the most prominent wrestlers before Austin was taken out, and was quite literally holding the WWF title while Rikishi was delivering the infamous promo. The further reveal of Triple H
I did it for The Rock. I did it for the people. Oh my god. Yo, I mean, I've seen this in some other playlists too with the with this nigga actually like oh, hold on. Yeah, yeah. What this nigga actually kind of trying to turn into a bad guy in other companies, and that shit didn't not work out either. So he's just better off playing like a lovable ass character. I felt like because like it's just he knows how to dance. He's a big guy, and you know that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. You ain't got no charisma, and you can't like really talk like that. I don't know what you can do.
being the true masked stalk Sarah. Based entirely on his booking and presentation,
Oh.
Vince McMahon seemingly never liked Diamond Dallas Paige. Being one of the only major players from WCW acquired by the WWF, and that it was Paige's fault, not Vince's, that Goldberg, Sting, Hulk Hogan, and countless others sat out their contracts, and Vince McMahon made sure to do everything in his power to bury Cage's career deep into the mud as a result. He started by casting him as a stalker of The Undertaker's then wife, Sarah. Nobody who knew of
That's
DDP wanted him to portray
crazy.
such a depraved character, particularly as the angle only led to Taker, Sarah, and Kane all battering the former WCW World Heavyweight Champion throughout the summer. Indeed, Sarah, a non-wrestler, scored a pinfall victory over a man who'd held the big gold belt on 3 occasions, probably one of the biggest burials in
And plus, to make it even worse, on top of that, damn, the Undertaker not even with her no more, bro. Dude, this is like so embarrassing. Like just Vince McMahon is like the most pettiest man on the earth. We already know this, but like this is like adding like salt into a wound. Like you embarrassing this man over some petty ass reason.
WWE history. DDP has since stated that he didn't initially realize the impact the storyline would have on his career, as he explained to Ariel Helwani, "If I was in WCW, if they told me that bullshit angle, I'd go, fuck you, seriously? I'm gonna be stalking someone else's wife? I didn't realize there was no reason for me to think that they were going to do, not even give me an opportunity. The thing that it taught me was that you can't be afraid to walk away from the table when you have something that you know they want. What I should have done when he said that, I should have just done my inner voice, which would have laughed out loud and said, Vince, are you looking at my wife? Seriously, of all people, I'm going after Taker's wife? Like, no, it's a horrible idea." Number 2, the Gobbledy Gooker. And nobody quite knew what to expect when the WWF wheeled out a giant egg ahead of 1990 Survivor Series, and by the time it cracked, they wished they never learned. What hatched inside was the Gobbledy Gooker, the WWF's supposed new mascot portrayed by Hector Guerrero. He was dressed head to toe in the anthropomorphic turkey costume, danced about the ring with Gene Okerlund, and mumbled a few words, but that was it. After a disastrous house show outing, Hector was canned by the WWF, and the turkey was cooked for Christmas. The reveal of what was in the egg had gone down as the most
That's crazy because like it's really not even like the wrestler's fault that the thing didn't work. It's just the dumbass creative and like people behind the scenes coming up with these characters, and it's their fault when something is like when something doesn't work. These niggas really make it the wrestler's problem and just fire them, which I think is just the most craziest thing back in the day. I mean, it still happens nowadays too.
anticlimactic reveals in wrestling history. But like with Danhausen in the crate 36 years later, fans' expectations have been blown out of proportion. It was never going to be Ric Flair inside of an egg, just like how it was never going to be Chris Jericho inside a crate, but still, this sucked, and Vince McMahon knew it. And number 1, the higher power. As with most storylines throughout his business career, Vince McMahon had no conclusion in mind.
Oh man, to think of this is like the most quoted thing ever. It's me, Austin.
When starting the higher power angle, and he ultimately revealed himself as a master manipulator of the corporate ministry. The reveal itself has been retroactively lauded as a definitive moment of the Attitude Era. However, the angle lacks substance and believability. McMahon's reasoning for aligning with The Undertaker was to get the WWF Championship away from Stone Cold Steve Austin. But at the time the angle kicked off, The Rock was champion, and he was aligned with McMahon. The storyline was quickly wrapped up after this reveal, and the corporate ministry disbanded within 2 months. The Undertaker has spoken candidly about his dislike of the former chairman revealing himself as a higher power in an interview with Shaq Wrestling. It was a huge storyline. I wasn't a big proponent of the higher power being Vince. I just thought it watered the ministry down. Although it led me to abducting Stephanie and all of that, it all works out. But you know, originally, I wasn't really thrilled about the corporate ministry. That really felt watered down to me. It felt like it kind of took away from what we were doing. Although, as I said, we got it back. But there you have it, folks. 10 of the
I mean, I felt like that reveal was just lackluster too. Yeah, this list was really good and had like totally a bunch of good points, man. Like that Gobbledy Gooker shit was just so stupid. Most of these and all, well, pretty much all of these are just like not the wrestler's fault. It's just bad creative and literally bad like instructions like from the boss to do something. They do everything right and something ends up not working out, and then they get blamed, and it's, you know, it's their fault basically. You can't really do nothing about that when there's people in charge of the company that are just like old. But hey, if you guys enjoyed that video, go take a look at the original video on WrestleMania, and if you enjoy my reactions, go check out my other WWE videos in the playlist and other wrestling ones. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're on the road to 450.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?